episode, but I'm sure you guys might have been talking about that clip of that former Obama aide giving that speech talking about like, oh, like the genocide isn't always bad.
We're getting to that. We haven't gotten to that yet, but yes, we will be.
We're gonna jump on that in a minute. In fact, you know what? We might as well, because the one thing that we saw, and I remember this very early on, because obviously Columbia University was kind of center stage for a lot of this, and I remember one of the people who claimed that one of the Palestinian protesters had ran into her and hit her in the eye. And then, of course, that person turns out to be someone who's getting paid by the Mossad. So all of these little connections are all very interesting. But I really think that many people don't understand how deep the rabbit hole truly goes with the Zio state. And we say it all the time. Democrats are worse than Republicans because Republicans are in your face. Democrats are much more subtle about the way they do business, which is why you have somebody like Stephen Miller versus somebody like Tony Blinken. They're both equally heinous individuals, both Zion Nazis, but Blinken is much more diplomatic about it, whereas Stephen Miller is much more of an animal about it. And so I see that in so many respects when you talk about Sara Hurwitz as somebody who was a prominent figure in the Obama administration. She does it in a nice, kind, sweet kind of way.
Right. Yeah, it's more irritating that way because I definitely it's weird. I almost like, not that I respect them, but like people who are just straight up like genocidal, like screw the Palestinians. They all got like, I always respect that more than someone who's like a liberal Zionist who's gonna try and gaslight me and act like they give a shit about Palestinians or anything like that. Like it's so bizarre. Like the way like this has really exposed people's humanity, and it's just really sad to see so many people who think they're good people advocating for Israel. Like it's infuriating.
Well, trying to what is it? Dance on the head of a pin, Jen.
Arguing like how many angels can dance on the head of a pin?
Well, let's see how many angels Sara Hurwitz is capable of dancing on the head of a pin.
I think that since October 7th, but really before then, there have been huge shifts in America on how people think about Jews and Israel. And I think that is especially true of young people. So we are now wrestling with a new, I think, generational divide here. And I think that's particularly true in that social media is now our source of media. And this, it used to be that the media you got in America was American media, and it was pretty mainstream. It generally didn't express extreme anti-Israel views. You had to go to a pretty weird bookstore to find global media and fringe media. But today, we have social media, which is a global medium, right? Its algorithms are shaped by billions of people worldwide who don't really love Jews.
So why don't you two tackle this one? Because they're still doing it. They are still equating Israel and Zionism with Jews. And let's be honest, you're in New York, you're Jewish.
Do you feel safe?
Yeah.
Jacob, are you safe?
Safe.
I feel safer out in Egypt than I do out here in New York as an anti-Zionist Jew. I'm more welcome in a Muslim country than I am on the Upper East Side out here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it's just insane. I mean, it's just pathetic. Like at this point, two years and change, and after October 7th, they're still trying to pass this. Like, oh, you hate us because we're Jews. Like, does anyone actually believe that? Like, other than themselves? Like, I don't think anyone actually believes that anymore.
No, in fact, I think even the people like your Nick Fuentes and those people, they don't even really know why they would hate Jews. It's like they don't even understand it either. It's like you've just been hearing it or whatever. But I do think a large majority of it is because of Ziohel. And that is what we're dealing with now. Now, historically, Jews have had a lot of issues in the past. I mean, my great-grandparents fled Russia from pogroms at the turn of the last century, and that was real, like that happened. But now it seems so fabricated that it's like, I don't know where it is real anymore because they fabricate so many anti-Semitic things so as to justify their shit.
It's the way, like a very common thing I hear every day on the internet is people call me a capo. And I'm like, for those of people that don't know, a capo are the Jews that helped the Nazis during World War II run the camps and helped walk them into the gas chambers. And I'm like, you're so unserious right now. You think me saying free Palestine and asking Israel to stop blowing up kids is the same? Like that, it just shows their victim mentality that they have. They think that like we're in Nazi Germany and that it's the same situation. Like, and they say it with a straight face, and that's why I don't really debate with Zionists, because it's a bad faith argument to have with that type of person. My energy's better spent elsewhere.
Yeah, and the truth, when they say that, I've been called a capo too. It's hilarious. I'm saying, no, what you're thinking of are like who you think you're equating, like the people who we're aligned with are the Germans that were hiding the Jews from the Nazis. That's that would be the equivalent wherein we are not liking what our people are doing in our name. And so we are doing the opposite. So it's actually not the capos, but they're so stupid that they don't even know what that is.
Right.
Yeah. And in her case, there is a certain level of course, as you know, in New York. And again, I'm from Jersey. I've been in, New York is a big part of my upbringing. I know all about the 92nd Y and how that's basically like a mainstay in the city for the Zionist cause and the events that they have there. This is probably where this took place. So much of it is based on class. And I really wish people would understand that so much of Zionism is an elite colonial supremacist ideology. The workaday Jews, like you said, Jen, your poppy was a mailman.
My poppy was a mailman.
It's like you forget that there are people that are just everyday people who happen to be a Berger or a Mouskowitz or a Goldman, and they're not these Zionist nut jobs. They're just everyday New Yorkers, but yet people like Hurwitz want you to believe that everyone thinks like she does. Why? Because it benefits her career. And she is willing to let hundreds of thousands, if not millions of innocent people, especially children, die for her career. That is a level of sociopathy that I don't know how people live with themselves. Like you said, you did lose your account on TikTok, but you can lay your head down at night knowing that you're doing everything you can for humanity. And Godspeed to you, brother, because there is not enough people out there doing what you're doing. But unfortunately, there's a shitload of people that are ready, willing, and able to take her spot if it ever became available. And that's the part of humanity that drives me nuts.
Yeah, well, hopefully also, things will change. I think unfortunately, I hate to say, but I feel like once the baby boomer generation is gone, we'll get a lot more progress than we can right now. Because I think her style of thinking, it's less, the younger generations don't believe any of this shit anymore. So
yeah,
unfortunately, it's gonna take time. Some people are optimistic. Oh, I think Israel will fall in a few years, 5 years. I'm like, it might take as long as Zionism has existed for it to really turn it around. We just have to keep applying the economic pressure, the societal pressure, the same way we do with South Africa or any other, apartheid nation.
I think it's going to end faster than that. I'm being honest. Their level of acceleration is friend of the show. Inshallah, seriously, as friend of the show Rothbone says, it's like they're going through a speed run, and that is kind of what they're doing because they're just so irritating and unlikable. So that on top of everything else only speeds it up. But Hurwitz has a little bit more to say.
So while in the 1990s, a young person probably wasn't going to find Al Jazeera or someone like Nick Fuentes, today those media outlets find them. They find them on their phones. It's also this increasingly post-literate media, less and less text, more and more videos. So you have TikTok just smashing our young people's brains all day long with video of carnage in Gaza. And this is why so many of us can't have a sane conversation with younger Jews, because anything that we try to say to them, they are hearing it through this wall of carnage. So I want.
Okay. Hold on. I am losing my mind with this. I just freaking can't. What she is saying is that she is more bothered by them seeing the carnage than by the carnage. You see how demented that is? So the carnage is okay. The problem is that we're seeing it. And yes, that does change our views. Yes, that does. It tends to do that.
I mean, speaking also to the sort of psychopath nature of the way Zionists think, I think what Israel does a really good job of, and you probably could agree with this, is they tie your Jewish identity to Israel. So any criticism or standing up against Israel for these people, it feels like ego death. It feels like they're being attacked, like their very essence, you know? So it's like, you're saying something bad about Israel, you're saying something about me as a Jew. And it's like, I don't know how we undo that type of that level of brainwashing, honestly.
Well, she's given off serious Sheryl Sandberg vibes, by the way.
Very much so.
Yes.
And it's almost creepy.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll finish it up.
To give data and information and facts and arguments, and they are just seeing in their minds carnage, and I sound obscene. And, you know,
that's because you are obscene, you dumbass.
You know, I think, unfortunately, the very smart, bet that we made on Holocaust education to serve as anti-Semitism education, in this new media environment, I think that is beginning to break down a little bit. Because, you know, Holocaust education is absolutely essential. But I think it may be confusing some of our young people about anti-Semitism because they learn about big, strong Nazis hurting weak, emaciated Jews. And they think, oh, anti-Semitism is like anti-Black racism, right? Powerful white people against powerless Black people. So when on
Yes. Yes, actually it is. If we're talking about actual Semites, that's actually exactly what it is. So that's what's so interesting about this.
But remember, she thinks she's a Semite.
I know.
Right.
She's very olive-y, that one.
No,
yes.
she's very oppressed. Okay. She only has a 2-bedroom apartment on Lexington Avenue, not 3. Okay. She's really living hard.
Yes. She puts the Nazi in Ashkenazi.
Yes. Terrible.
TikTok all day long, they see powerful Israelis hurting weak, skinny Palestinians. It's not surprising that they think, oh, I know, the lesson of the Holocaust is you fight Israel. You fight the big, powerful people hurting the weak people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty friggin' good. Yes. And why do the Palestinians look so weak, you stupid cunt? It's because they're being genocided.
Oh, we can curse on here. Nice. Okay. I'm so used to talking TikTok friendly language, so I can say fuck, shit, piss.
Oh, you can say whatever you want here. Oh, I'm livid. I cannot with women like that because that woman looks like, not just does she remind you of Sheryl Sandberg, but she could be any myriad of the women that I went to school with and grew up with in North Miami Beach. And they are just the level of entitlement and like just complete white feminism oozes from them. Like they're sitting there literally more offended by people seeing the carnage than the creation of the carnage.
Yeah.
I just can't.
On our channel, you can talk like you're waiting online for the Hallel Euro stand at 53rd and 6th.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just out there. You just maybe came from the Knick game. Maybe they lost. You feeling down.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. Well, I'm so used to using Instagram, TikTok friendly language and stuff. So when I come on a show, I forget that. That's why I say something like unalive. I'm just so used to saying it instead of like murder or like some other thing like that. That's how social.
Oh, don't get we get demonetized and shit. But so far, we're at least still here.
For now. Jacob, can you talk about what it's like amongst the affluent Jewish community in New York in particular, like Sara Hurwitz, that it's like they have to lead with their credentials. They have to let you know that they're very important people, that they went to NYU, they went to Columbia, and they have a doctorate, and I'm part of this law firm, and I'm part of this social club, etc. It's in another component to their love and affinity for Israel is their love and affinity for being part of high society. Like to them, that is, it's like a defining characteristic in so many ways, especially in a place like New York.
Yeah, I mean, people are all about, status, and Zionists are very obviously, we're always taught very much like education and succeed in life. So like that's like what's most important to them, no matter what the cost.
So one of the things that I very much come to appreciate about you isn't just that you're anti-Zionist. Like, I mean, I feel like that, but I have been watching you really fall in love with a whole other culture that you really didn't know a lot about and get welcomed in. And I can see that you feel very honored in so many instances of being invited in. And I completely understand that because that's how I felt. Like every time I was invited to iftar, every time I just was like,
right.
I never spent time around so many Muslims and all different kinds of Muslims, Turkish Muslims, Egyptian Muslims, Palestinian Muslims, like Muslims. And it was like the coolest thing ever. And the only thing that I could say that's remotely negative is that they're kind of square. But like, other than that, it's like, it's been seriously like a blessing to me. Like, I feel very fortunate that I've met the people that I've met. And I feel like you do that to the next level by moving to Egypt.
Yeah, I mean, I always, the way that the Arab and the Muslim community have embraced me since October 7th has really been something that's really warmed my heart and like really shown me, you know, what true like Arab and Muslim values are. You know, obviously I'm 40 years old. I grew up in the era of 9/11. You know, we were indoctrinated with, not that I ever had any hatred or ill will towards Muslims, but like a lot of it was a mystery to me. So once I started going to protests and rallies, and then when I moved out to Egypt, it's been quite a learning experience, and just the way people are so welcoming. Like, I can never pay for a bill. Like, anytime we go out to eat, it's always like, you are the special Yehudi. You do not pay. Like, we pay. Which is always great. But part of the reason I moved out to Egypt last year was because I went on a humanitarian trip, and I met with people from Gaza who've been displaced and saw how they're living, and, you know, met some children. Like, I met one girl who her leg was badly damaged. Most of her family was killed. And, you know, when you listen to stories of children telling you about watching their mother get shot in the head, or like, you know, being the last surviving member of their family, like, it just did something to my brain chemistry where I was like, you know what, like, I think I need to be out here for now. Like, I'm privileged in the fact that I earn my living from social media, so I don't need to physically be in America. So let me just move out to Egypt and find NGOs that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and also breaking through the Hasbra and the propaganda that a white Jewish American can't thrive in a Muslim country. It's been very welcoming, very great. Never have any problems out there. You know, it's all love. They all know the difference between an Israeli Zionist and a Jewish person, because at the end of the day, like, Muslims pray to our prophets. Like, you know, you're not taught that growing up, that, like,
I know,
you know, that it's the last iteration of Judaism and Christianity. So they literally speak on Jesus more than they speak on Muhammad. Like, you know, it's
peace be upon him.
Exactly. So it's the love that they've shown me has been, especially at a time where I've had to stop talking to certain family members or just walked away from people in my past life. You know, they really have stepped up in a big way for me.